This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, yesterday first example is working fine. Any
Yeah,
issue?
hi sir. Yes, it is working fine.
Okay, good. Just do the practicals on the day basis. Don't postpone the practicals, please, because we are going with the practical oriented, right? Every day I'll take you an example. So do the practicals without fail, okay? Do the practicals without fail. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, good. Yes, yesterday we did the first application, right? How many steps we have? Just we configure the first application. The step one is what? Speak out there. What is step one?
Creating bin class.
Create the bean classes. Yesterday just I created two bean classes without any properties, right? Create the bean classes, number one. And step two is what? Once you create the bean classes, what are the bean classes you required? Create it. After that, tell
Need
me
to
what is
create
second
a
step?
configuration beans configuration file XML file.
Configure the, okay. Configure the bean classes in bean configuration file, right? Configure the bean classes in bean configuration file. Okay, nothing but bean configuration file, right? Nothing but what? XML, right? Exactly. What is step three? Tell me. Step three is what?
We need to create
Uh,
program for a Spring
Client
container.
code, right? Client
Yeah.
code. Yeah, simply can say client code. Start the container, access the object, right? Start the container, access the objects. Clarity important. So first you need to create the bean classes. Configure the bean class in the bean configuration file. Configure the bean class in the bean configuration file. Client code to start the client code. In the client code, what we will do? Start the container, Spring IOC container. Start the Spring IOC container, access the objects, right? Exactly. Very clear, right? Good. Because today we'll go for the injection, dependency injection values. Because dependency, okay, dependency injection. If you go for the dependency injection, guys, so just we're injecting the dependent values of the object, right? Yes, we're injecting the dependent values of the object. Assume like my employee object required the employee ID, employee name, and employee salary. So my employee object required employee ID, employee name, employee salary. I need to inject the values. Injecting the required values to the object, that is called dependency injection. That is called what? Dependency injection, right? Exactly. Mainly it will happen through two ways. Yeah? One is like, you can inject the values using setter injection, because we can inject the values using what? Setter injection, right? Exactly. Second one is what? We can inject the values using constructor injection, right? Exactly. Because injecting the values to the object, injecting the values to the, simply dependent injection means what? Tell me, as injecting the values to object. Object is called dependency injection. So there are two ways we can inject the values. Okay, there are two ways. Two ways to inject the. Tell me, to inject the values, right? Two ways to inject the values here. One is what? Setter injection, injecting the values using setter approach, injecting the values using constructor approach. Yes or no? Good. We will see practically how to do the setter injection, how to do the constructor injection. What is the difference between the setter injection and what constructor injection, right? What is the difference between the setter and what constructor injection? Is it clear now? Just injecting the values to the object, required values to the object, right? Injecting the required values to the object is called dependent injection. And how many ways you can inject the values, There are two ways to inject the values. What are the two ways? Tell me. Tell me, what are the two ways? One is mm, one is setter injection, injecting the values using setters, and injecting the values using what? Constructor injection, right?
Construct.
Constructors. Exactly. That is a point, Amma. So everything we have to do practically, right? We have to see practically. Because here, this example, let me take the employee class. In employee class, let me inject some values. Okay, let me inject some values, right? So can you please select your workspace, Amma? Spring 7am apps. Can you please launch the project? Can you please launch the application? There are two ways to inject the values. Spring applications bit simple, so do the practicals on the day basis. Huh? Loading the workspace, starting Eclipse ID. Yeah. So can I create the new project? Can you create the new project? Tell me how to create the new project. New. Yes, please guide me how to create the new project. File menu, click on new. Java project. The project name is what? Injecting the values, right? Injection. Injection, simply injection example. Just click on the next button. Module version Java S11. Fine. Just click on the finish. So don't create the modules, not required. So injection example, Guys, tell me what is the first step? Tell me, what is the first step?
We need to create
Guys,
bean
first step is
class.
what? Create the. We need to create the bean class, right? Where we need to create them under the src folder. Right click, new. I want take the class. I want take the class, right? So take the package name from the tcs dot which class now employee class, right? So com dot tcs dot beans package. Com dot tcs dot beans package. The class name is what? We need to give the class name is like employee class. Just click on the finish. Just give the package name and give the employee bean name and just click on what to finish. Then what happened guys here? emp.java file is ready. Okay, good. Guys, this example, let me take some properties. So take the employee properties, which is of type employee ID. Guys, private int employee ID. Next one is what? Private. Tell me, private string the employee name, and private. Okay, private double employee. Tell me, private double and what? Double employee salary, right? Exactly. If now, first example, I want to inject the values using constructor or setter injection. I need to go with the setter injection, guys. To inject the setter values, right click here, source. Can you please generate the setter and getter methods, right? Generate the setter and getter methods. Can you please select all the properties, Click on what to generate. Once if you click on the generate, then all the properties are generated or not. Setters and getters are generated. I hope you know that setters are used to set the data and getters are used to get the data, right? Exactly, guys. Just your bean class is ready. Bean class is what? Ready. Guys, what the second step? Tell me. We need to configure the bean class in what? Tell me, what the second step?
Configuration file.
We need to configure the bean in what? We need to configure the beans in the bean configuration file, right? Exactly. We are going with setter injection, right? Setter. Yeah. But we are going with like setter injection. Fine. We are going with setter injection means configuration file you can take in the configuration file configure the bean classes, right? Exactly. Because yesterday example is there na? There we can copy the configuration file. So I hope you know how to get the configuration file. Right click on the src folder. Right click on what? src folder, new. I want to take the normal file. Normal file. Its extension is what? .xml. Because configuration file name can be anything or any fixed name. Configuration file name can be any name, right?
Any name.
Any name, any name.
Yeah. Can I take the config.xml? Just click on the finish. This is the config.xml. Yesterday some code is there. Just let me copy that code. Let me place that code. That's it. Because here this is a schema definitions. We need to validate the tags and all, schema locations and all. Here we need to configure the beans. Okay. The XML document, the root tag is a beans because this documents what we are going to configure beans, right? Yes, sir, no, Lipika. We need to configure what beans, right? To configure the beans, here it should be like bean tag. Beans is a root tag. Under the beans tag, what we need to configure? Tell me. We need to configure the bean, right? Exactly. Yes, we need to configure what bean, right? Yes. Yes, the bean opening and closing required today because bean, which bean you are going to configure? Wait, tell me. You need to respond
Employee
there.
bean.
I know.
Fine.
Employee bean. What is the, we need to give the ID, right? ID equal to what? EMP. Second attribute is what? We are taking the class, right? What
Class.
the class
Class.
name? Founder,
Founder,
TCS,
TCS,
bean dot
Bean.
EMP, right? Exactly. Founder, TCS dot beans dot what? EMP. But now yesterday class just only bean is there. We configure like this. But today class to this bean we need to inject some values, right? Guys, to this bean we need to inject some values or not?
Yes, sir.
Because today we need to inject some values, right? Exactly. What? How many values you need to inject, Bhargavi? Three values, right? ID, name, and salary.
Yes, sir.
Then here you can go with tag. The tag is called property tag. Okay. Property name is what? Employee ID. And you can take the property value. Property ID is employee ID. Okay. Employee, I'm giving the value like triple one. That's it. Self closing you can take. Tell me the second property. Property. Property name is what? Employee name.
Employee
Value you
name.
can take. Value you can take the Lipika. Right. Next one is what? Property. Property name is what? E-salary. E-salary value equal to what? Salary, right? So Lipika salary is almost 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs point 45. Close it. Hmm. Yeah, 2 lakhs point 45, right? Yes, that's it. Just we yesterday class only bean is there. We configured only this line. But today class, tell me today class, we need to set some properties, right? These are the properties I'm setting using property tag. So are you clear now? Completed it. Guys, we are not injecting any values. Just we configure the values. Let the Spring container work on this object creation, work on the setter injections. You got the point, right? Let the Spring container will work on this XML file, will create the object of this class and will inject these values or not. Exactly, Amma. So tomorrow, if any modifications required, I can open my XML file, I can do the modification, then entire project will be reflected or not. Guys, entire project will be reflected, right? Exactly. Guys, second step also completed, I think. Second step also completed, right? What the third step?
Client code.
Guys, what is the third step? Start the container. Start the container, right? Tell me guys, how need to start the container? Go for SRC. Let me create the new class. What the package name? com.tcs.what client code. Then client test the client, right? Just click on the main method. Click on the finish. I hope you know that to start the container, which class we need to use application context there. But application context is the Spring. Okay, what you can say Spring predefined interface, right? That's what we need to build path the jar files or not. Build path, configure build path. uh, we know, right? Because I need to use the Spring predefined support. That's what we need to take the Spring jars, right? How we can do the Spring jars? Tell me. Build path, config build path, class path, add external jars. Okay, fine. Let's select the jar file. Actually, some specific jars are enough, but who will select the specific jars? Select all the jars because we are not going to do this approach in the real time, right? What we will do in the real time? We'll go for the Maven project and Gadel project, right? Exactly. Apply and close them. That's it. Because here you'll get the Maven dependencies. All the dependencies are there. All the Maven dependent, all sorry, all the reference libraries, right? This is reference libraries. Whatever the build path option we done, that is called reference libraries. Maven dependencies, we'll get the Maven dependencies like here. Okay, fine here. But as of now, we need to go with the build path. Okay, the application context equal to. Tell me guys how to start the container. Application context equal to. Hmm,
New create
nah,
path external.
new class path XML application context, right? Give the configuration file name. What the configuration file name today? Config.xml, right? Yes, here I'm starting the container. Here I'm starting the container, Amma. Then immediately container goes to, tell me, immediately container goes to, when we start the container, Bhargavi, tell me what it will do. Bhargavi, when you start the container, what happened internally? When we start the container, container goes to uh, when we start the container, the container goes to Spring configuration file. Here, what are the beans are configured? This will bean will be instantiated and these values will be initialized to the bean object. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Uh, Tell me the process, Bhargavi. What the container will do when you start the container?
Yeah.
Hmm. Tell me, yaar, that process is important, Bhargavi.
uh,
Hmm.
it will go to
It will.
that.
When we start the container, what it will do? Don't forget this point, Amma. When we start the container, when we start the container goes to configuration file. It will please mute. It will instantiate please mute. It will instantiate and initialize the beans, right?
Yes,
Initialize
sir.
the beans configured in XML file, right?
File.
Don't forget this point. When you start the container immediately looking into the configuration file. When you start the container looking into the configuration file, it will instantiate and what? Uh, Container will
Relation.
instantiate and initialize all the beans, right? Container instantiate and what? Initialize all the beans uh, which we configured in the XML, right? Statement is clear.
Yes, sir.
Good. After that, what we need to do? Just to understand just objects created or not created, just you can add the one zero or main constructor. So default construct, right? Sysout control space, sysout control space. Just we can take the employee colon. This is simply constructor, right? Exactly. Clear now? Yes. Guys, see this code. Everything is fine. Hmm? Good. Guys, I taken the bean class. I configured the bean class in the bean configuration file, which is id like com.tcs.beans.emp. Then you can take the client code, right? Fine. Guys, now I started container. Before stars, I started a container, right? Okay, fine. Can you please start the client code, Amma? Guys, can please run the client code, right? Yes. If you click on the client code, oh, very good. See, guys, we got the output, right? Employee object is created or not created? Guys, employee object is created or not created?
It is created.
Created.
That's it.
Yes, created.
Employee object is created. The object is ready with the container, right? The object is ready with the container. Can you please ask the container give me the object? How it will be?
Get beans method.
Tell me the code for that.
Context dot get beans.
Uh, context dot what get bean method. Which bean you need? EMP
Employee.
bean.
Apply ID.
Then we need to go for the class, right? That's it. Then typecasting required or not required? Not required.
Not
Something like you
required.
can take the code like this, right? That's it. Now context is the container. Container is having the all objects. Yes, container is having what? All objects, right? Container is having all the objects, right? Exactly. Yes, employee emp equal to context dot get bean of what? Emp dot class. Because I think once the employee object is ready, can I call my getter methods? Emp dot tell me emp dot what? Get eid. Yes, getter method I'm calling. This is our control space emp dot. Tell me get eid, get ename, and sysout control space emp dot what? Get esalary, right? That's it, Amma. Very clear now. Get eid, get ename, and what? Get esalary, right? That's it, Amma. Just you can run this code. If you run this code, we got the output is like 111 Pika 2 lakh point 45, right? Guys, application is working or not working?
It's
Mm,
working.
yeah, string examples are easy or difficult? Bargaining?
Easy, sir.
What is string examples very simple, right? When compared to core Java, advanced Java. EMP, like we take an employee class, and we are not creating object, and we are not assigning the data. Where we are doing that in configuration, config.xml. Just you are configuring the bean class. We are injecting the specific values, right? We are injecting the specific values. After that, you can start the container. Immediately, container comes and come to the config.xml file here. Come to what? Config.what? XML, right? In the config.xml file, this bean is instantiated. First of all, employee bean is instantiated with the reference variable is what? EMP. With the reference variable is what? EMP. And these values will be, initialized, right? Automatically. Guys, are you clear? Good. Guys, here, who is creating object? Container is creating object. String container is creating object, right? Employee object. During object creation, the container use zero argument constructor, guys, to create object. Guys, in the setter injection, when you set the values, the object is created using how many argument constructor? Guys, in setter injection, tell me here, in setter injection,
Zero.
remember, in setter injection, the bean object is created. The bean object is what? Created using how many argument constructor here? Zero argument constructor, right? Yes, don't forget this point. In setter injection, when you are injecting the values using setter methods, in setter injection, the bean object is created using what? Zero argument constructor. Here, this bean object is created using zero argument constructor, right? Guys, yes or no?
Yes.
You guys are clear now. This is like public class, EMP class, employee ID. This is the data. Enough. Okay, remember that when you inject the values using constructor approach, in setter injection, the object is created using what? Zero argument constructor, right? Please, yeah, don't leave the meeting, join the meeting. Check the network connections once. Every time getting sound like entering sound and exit sound.
It is
In setter
network
injection,
issues.
the bean object is created using zero argument construct, right? This example is clear. Good. Guys, can please check once this example? These three properties are normal properties, right? These three are the normal properties, right? Normal properties means like employee ID, employee name, employee salary. Basic properties, right? Like primitive properties. Let me take one object property here. Observe carefully. Let me take one object property. What is object property means? Let me take the address class here. Just something like tell me here private. I want take the address address address, right? Exactly. Guys, application point of view, again we need to create the class address class. Instead of we are creating the class, just I'm defining what a private address, right? Just can place the cursor. It is asking you want to create the class. Yes, can you please create the class? Just click on the finish. Automatic class is created. You got the point, right? Either you can go for the bean class, you can do it. Either you can take the bean class, you can take the class address class beans package. In the beans package, you can take the address class. Otherwise, first you can define the class in the employee. Okay, so that it's asking you want to create this class. Yes, I want to create the class. Then address class is generated. Okay, good. Generally, address class contains what the properties? Tell me. So private. Tell me private into door number I can take. Uh, tell me private string you can take the street name you can take. Street name I can take, and I can take one more value, private string, tell me private string city, right?
Zip code.
City name, street name, and city. Fine, pin
Postal code.
code, those all the data if you want you can take. But in general, I taken the three properties: door number, street, and what state, right? Exactly. Yes. Can you please add the? Today we are doing the setter injection or constructor injection. We are doing with the setter injection, right? Can you please add the setter methods? Source, generate setters and getter methods. Select all the properties. Click on generate, right? Yes. Very good. Setters and getters are ready. And I think in employee class also, yeah, okay, yeah, here employee class also, let me take the address is there, right? There we can see, right click source. For this address field also I need to generate one setter and getter, right? Just click on once, generate them. Then what happened here? Setter and getter is generated, right? Exactly. Because every property contains one pair of setter and getter methods. Okay, get address, setter address, get eid, set eid, get e name, set e name, get e salary, set e salary, right? That's fine. Guys, anyhow, my employee class now I need to inject how many values in the employee class? Because in employee class I need to inject how many values?
4 values.
4 values, sir.
4 values. But here how many values are injected already? 3 values, right?
3, sir.
Then which value you have to insert? Fourth value we have to inject, right? Tell me what the property for the fourth property? Property name.
Address.
Guys, what is the property name?
Address.
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 Uh, Address, 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 right? Exactly. Guys, this is the property normal value or object type it is. Guys, it's
It's
a
object
normal
type.
Object
value
type.
or object type.
Object.
It's
Object
object type,
type.
right? If it is object type means it's normal value or object type. Object type, right? Object type means we have to use a ref tag, ref attribute. Tell me which reference we have to give? Address reference, right? Yeah, which reference we have to give here? A property name is
Address.
address. Address is normal type, object type. It's a object type. If it is object type means I take the ref tag, right? Ref tag I taken. Ref tag, then here we need to give the reference, right? Yes or no, yaar? You need to take the ref tag or not? Yes. In that case, tell me how it will be. First, sir, where is my address
Reference.
class, sir? Reference, right? Where is my address class then? Address class is not there, right? That's what, first of all, can you please configure the address bin, right? We clear now. Now we can configure the address bin, right? Exactly. Because bean, we can take the bean ID. Because bean ID. Guys, here in employee class, I want to inject the address bin. But where is address bin? Address bin is not there as of now. That's what. First of all, can you please configure the address bin, right? Addr address. Address. Here you can take the class. What the class name guys here? com.acs dot beans dot what the class name is here? Address, right? Address. Okay, sorry, clear now? Yeah. Tell me guys how many properties need to inject? Property name is what? A door number. Door number. Then you can make the property value. Door number something like this, right? Yeah. 65 dash 470 by 6, something like this. Next property, tell me. Tell me your property name. Property name is what? Street name, I think. Street name is like value Madhapur. Okay, Madhapur. So next one is what? Property close self closing. Next one is what? City. Third property city. City corresponding value is what? Tell me here. What is the corresponding value? City is the Hyderabad, right? Um, Actually, my employee being required address properties. That's what I define address. Then this address being what is a reference variable? Guys,
ADDR.
ADDR.
yeah, address being what the reference variable? Addr, right? That's what what he can do simply, can I give this addr here, right? That's it, guys. Now you're clear, right?
Yes.
Guys, first one is what, this is like employee class. Employee class contains the properties like id, name, salary, and address. Address is normal field, object field. Tell me here, address is normal
That's
field,
the
object
object
field.
object field.
Object field. That's what we need to use a ref tag, right? Ref attribute. You have to give the address reference, right? That's what I configured address reference here, and I give an address reference here, right? Is it clear
Yes.
now? Can I run this code? Yes, but in the client code, I think we didn't access the address details, right? So how to get address details? Tell me. So control space, address address details. How can you give the address details? Tell me then. Tell me how to get address details.
So employee dot get address. emp
Employee
dot get
data, emp data get address. Getter method we are calling. This getter method returns which object? Address object, right?
address. Yes.
This getter method returns which object means address object. If you want address means emp, please mute. Emp dot what? Get address. Emp dot get address returns which object? Address object, right? That's what then get the address details, right? Address dot address dot what? Get door number. This is out control space. Address dot need to call a get a street name. Tell me this is out control space. Address dot uh, get city, right? That's all. Guys, are you clear? Simply you can run this code, right? If you run this code,
Yes.
we expected output. Oh my god, we got error. Very good. Why error? Because why this error? Tell me. For the input string is 65657 by 6. Very good. This is a fail to convert. Guys, yeah. See guys, yeah. Read this error message. When you got errors, fail to convert the property type string. Property value of type is string. Required type is what? Integer. Guys, door number you are taking which format? Guys, door number what you are taking?
Integer format.
Hmm.
Integer format.
Yeah, door number you are taking integer format, but what you given? But you
String
given the
format.
data like you given the data like this is slashes format, right? Hyphen slashes. Is that hyphen slashes can hold the integer can hold this data? Integer cannot hold this data, right? What we will do then? Then go for the string class, address class. Can I make this an address property string? Then you can take the return type is what? String. And argument also can I take the string, right? Okay, which one is better? This is enough, right? Hmm?
Yes.
Yes. Because if you take the string format means what? It can take the hyphens and slashes and everything, right? It's not. Because previously you take an integer. Integer cannot hold what? Yeah, we
String.
got the output, right?
Special characters.
Triple one Lipika. Yeah, triple one Lipika. 2 lakhs fine 45. 65. This is the door number, right? 65 slash 50, 65 hyphen 57 by 6. Madhapur and Hyderabad. Guys, first how I done the practicals. First I taken the normal properties. Execute the code with normal properties. Execute the code with what? Normal properties. Got the point, right? Yeah, execute the code with normal properties. Once you check the output, then you can add the address property again. Then you can add the address property. take the address class. Can you please add the address class here? Take the address class. Because while doing the practicals, don't add directly, don't add directly this data, please. You got the clarity, right? Directly don't add the complete code and don't run the code. Execute the code piece by piece. Nothing but first you can take this property, normal properties, inject the normal properties, inject what? Only normal properties. Just add the client code, run the code. You will see the normal data. Then you can take some address property. Just you can take what? One address property. Then you can configure the address property. Because you want me inject one more one more object property, or you understood a process? Because you want me inject one more one more object property, you understood?
We understood.
Hmm. You understood, right?
Yes.
Yes. Uh, Good. Just so a small example, you can do the practical summer. This is my employee class. We have this example one bean class, then bean configuration file, and yeah, bean configuration file. This is like test client class. Very good, test client class. Then you can take what address properties, right? Address property. Good. Because you please do one small assignment. What is that small assignment means? Complete the assignment, place in the protected test. Okay. Good. Because you can take the class student class. Student class contains student ID, student roll number, student name, student like roll number name, marks. Roll number name is normal field. Next one is the marks. Marks. It's the object field. Again, marks contains the three prop. Okay, fine. Marks field is there. Next one is what? School is there. SCHOL school is there like this. Okay. Roll number name, then mark roll number name, and next one is what? You can take the standard roll number name. That's enough. Roll number name, marks is there, school is there. Total student class contains how many? Here you can write the setters and what getters. Because total student class contains how many properties? The student class contains how many properties?
4 properties.
Sir.
Four.
Four properties.
Four.
Out of four properties, how many fields are normal properties? Two
Two.
fields are normal properties. Two are object properties, right? It means
Yes.
class you can take the marks class. Marks contains what? Science, okay, social information, max information, right? Science, social, max. Here also as usual, what you can write? Setters and tell me, setters and what? Setters and we need to write the getters, right? Exactly. Next one is what? Class, student, marks. Next one is a
School.
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 School contains information like name of the school and school ID and school name. School ID and school name. Enough, right? School ID and school name. That's all. Location, school location also, if you want, you can add. You got the point, right? Yes. Configure the above beans in the bean configuration file. Client code. In the client code, you need to access the data, right? Let's configure the above beans in bean configuration file. Number one. Client code start the container. Start the container, access the details. Yes or no? Hmm. Yeah. Guys, just client details, print the details like this. So something like you can print the code like this, details like this. First one is what? Student info. Student info, just to print the something like student name and student roll number. Student what? Roll number, something like this. Next one is what? Just you can make some stars like this. Okay, next one is what? Marks info. Marks info. Okay, print the individual marks. print the individual marks, individual print the individual marks, and print the total marks, and print the average marks, print the average, right? Print the avg marks, something like this. Next one is what? School information. You want to get the school information. Say school info. Tell me here. School info. School info is there. School info, just you can print the name of the school, id of the school, location of the school. I think you got the clarity, right? Yes. Guys, are you clear now? You can try to do this example. So meet in tomorrow class. We'll continue. Tomorrow we have the class. Tomorrow we have the class. Join the class tomorrow. Do the practicals. Don't postpone the practicals, please. Please do the practicals. So if you have any questions, let me know. Where is your class notes? I'll share you the class notes using protectedtest.com slash spring 7. Just spring 7 is there. Password for this one is Java. Today we have the day 4, right? Day 4.
Sir, please paste the link in the chat, sir.
Good. Yesterday notes is placed, right? Fine. Today is day 4, no? Good.
Tomorrow